Hello, everyone, and welcome to the back half of round number 3 at the 2020 Ledgestone Insurance Open. We've got sixth card coverage coming in hot from the Lake Eureka course. Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, along with Paul Ulibarri. And Paul, we've been watching some golf, and quite the contrast from what we saw over at Lake Eureka, or correction, what we saw over at Northwoods just the day before. And it looks like people are trying to make their move. That's what Saturday is all about, right?
No, you're completely right. And not only do we have quite the contrast of courses, but on this card, seems like that's the type of course this is every hole you're going to have different scores. A few birdies, but a few bogeys as well. And a couple of these guys are actually trending in the right direction. Let's see if they can put a hot one together.
Well, 425 feet here on hole number 10. 14th most difficult. So this is actually kind of one of the easier holes at 425 feet.
Just a little chip shot for the best players in the world. And let's see, the only thing you want to do is if you get it flat, drift it in front of the bushes on the right to the left, and you'll give yourself a 25 to 30 footer, or park it if you take them on to where you're just barely missing those trees on the right.
Yeah, that leaked out left for McBeth, and it's kind of almost deceptive. You see two baskets as you zoom in there. The basket behind the back one is actually the basket of hole 8, which of course they just played a few holes ago. And so it's a little bit deceptive when you're trying to line these up sometimes, but we'll see if Oman can go tighter to the right, and he doesn't. That's also out and right there in McBeth land, only about 10 feet from McBeth at about 65 feet away.
Yeah, that's a little bit bizarre to me. I feel like this hole is one that you can, like I said, take it a bit wider and then just kind of tack on a straight to flat hyzer that lands at about 40 to 30 feet. See if James does that. Yeah, this is more of what you're looking for. Like I said, just a little flat shot kind of gets through there. And
yeah, and I think he threw the exact line he wanted to, and if it was 2 feet longer, it would have maybe hit that short grass and skipped within 20, but instead he's about circle's edge, and looks like almost a misfire by Cale.
Yeah.
A little low.
It's okay. No harm, no foul. Par is good. Actually, on this hole, par is not good.
Well, this is one of the few that you really do hope to, pick up the 2, but just don't do anything silly and give anything away. And tough to see which one, those were trees or were those Paul's legs. I couldn't tell as he was stretched.
Come on, get it there.
And McBeth, right out of his hand, said, "Come on, get it there," just knowing it was short. James going to get things going here, Yuli. It's about 38 feet.
Yeah, he's running out of time, so he needs it to make a nice little push going forward. And those are the ones that kind of just leak away. He missed one on the previous hole, and then to start the back 9 with a miss there. I mean, those are the ones that come back to haunt you at the end of the tournament.
McBeth and Conrad have now fully separated by 11 total or 10 total strokes, and they started out tied. Everyone on this card was 5 under starting this round. So you see McBeth is 6 under through 10 and is trying to pull away from the rest of the card. And unfortunately, Conrad heading in the wrong direction at the moment. He does walk away with the par, though.
That happens on this course. It's really easy to let the round get away from you with all the out of bounds just looming at every corner.
300 feet on hole number 11. 17th most difficult, so second easiest, playing at 2.76, which is crazy because there's OB all surrounding this entire basket, left, right, and deep.
No, you're right, but stock hyzer from Paul here with the sidearm. The one miss you see a lot of people make is if they do make a mistake with the sidearm is the one that he just did. It's not getting enough height to come back inbound, so he's going to be OB way short of where his disc is.
Yeah, I mean, he did not, find the inbounds area at all on the latter part of that drive. So he's got to take it from way back where he was last inbounds.
And then we see Paul Ulibarri making the same mistake, and the reason these guys are making this mistake is they did push it a bit farther back, which makes it tougher to get the height you need to get the turn. James makes a nice correction from these guys and turns it over enough, but it's kind of scary throwing it higher because if you do catch one of those limbs, easier to go OB left.
Well, or you great shot by Cale, or you turn it over too much and you could actually, find yourself right side OB, as the yellow ropes indicate on that right side. So, And we were just talking about McBeth's really good start, 6 under through the first 10. And now he's going to have that first blemish on his scorecard here. See if Oman can save the par.
That's a long ways to try to save a par.
Elevated pin, so the danger is if you get this one too high up in the air and you don't draw any metal, you could go deep and go OB.
That was a good birdie from James. He needs it. He needs it bad. Now, even though Cale is kind of just like chilling, not really making a lot of mistakes, he still is only 5 under. He needs to pick up the pace as well.
Yeah, he's, we've talked about a couple of easy, stress-free pars, which are great. But if you're trying to push during that championship Sunday, you're going to have to collect a few more birdies. So he'll pick this one up. He'll go to 2 under on the round, which would be 6 under overall. So we'll see. They're going to have a long walk. You see the crowd kind of in the background, a limited gallery that was allowed in a COVID year. And you arrive on the famous water tower hole. What's the play?
So there's those trees on the right. Those really don't come into play, but you can use those as a nice little aiming point. If you get the height at about, I don't know, this isn't a good angle for me to describe what I'm talking about, but the first thing you need on this is height. These guys have plenty of power to get it to the pin. There you go. If you can get it mid height, this looks like it's pretty good.
Oh no! It hits the tower and then rolls directly back, and that's going to be out of bounds for Conrad. We'll see if this looks a little bit wider by Cale. We'll see if it gets out and around, and almost underneath the basket. What a shot!
Yeah, perfectly played there from Cale.
See if McBeth also, there's the height you're talking about. Oh, he hits the side, but it does sit down for him, and he's actually left himself with a legit birdie putt from there.
Yeah, that totally doable. Catches the good break without rolling out of bounds. That's kind of how it goes. Like you said, that big stroke difference between Conrad and McBeth happens like that. One guy hits the wall, stays inbounds. One guy hits the wall, goes OB. Another guy hits the wall, goes OB.
So they move over to the drop zone. You see tournament director Nate Heinold there off in the distance. And I was going to say real quick before, as they were teeing off, huge shout out to Nate and the crew for building the platform that they did to make this a much more accessible tee area. That was a frustration, I think, in years past. So the fact that they built up a tee to be there just for this event, a big shout out to those guys. And talk about capitalizing, right? He gets the good kick off the water tower and then converts the putt.
Yeah, and he's made a couple silly mistakes this round, and he's beating the card by 5 to this point. So That's Paul McBeth for you.
See, in all this time, I thought he just got lucky.
He did. You just saw him.
Oh, okay. But I thought like week in and week out, he just got lucky.
I haven't seen him play the water tower more than once, so he hit the thing, stayed in bounds. All I know is he's lucky.
They have a. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I was just saying they have a long walk that brings us over to this hole, and now talk about this par 5, and then I'll go back to my thought.
Yeah, so par 5, 4 billion feet. The play is you want to throw a stock hyzer over the water that lands by. You'll see a tree that's kind of in the fairway. If you can land in the middle of that and the bush on the right, you're in good position. Looks like Cale has done that.
Yeah, he's puts himself. That's exactly where you want to be.
Yes.
You're playing the big hyzer off the tee, and then you're hoping to just set yourself up for another big hyzer.
If you play this hole correctly, you're throwing the same shot for 3 straight shots.
Yeah, 1080. You figure 350 times 3 is 1050 if I do some good math there. So yeah, you're exactly right.
Yeah, if you can throw 355, then.
Got to get greedy.
Well, nobody wants to putt, especially in this wind that we're feeling right here.
James didn't like it out of his hand, and you see that right, flag, that discraft flag, kind of blowing straight at Paul. Wait, did Paul have a change of shirts?
Yeah, who's this?
Oh no! Hits inbounds and then kicks back to OB in the water.
Now that's a mistake though. I mean, you don't want to bite off that much, because even if you do, you're gonna have that bush that Cale just went around kind of in your way. So that was a mistake, and he got punished for it.
So everyone goes to the drop zone. I like this play because it kind of takes out some of the ambiguity about where you were out of bounds, where you weren't, that type of thing. It gets you across the water, but that's where they're heading here, is to this drop zone. And I feel like they just added that in the last year or two.
They did, but this is not an easy drop zone.
Correct. I didn't say it was easy. I just said I like that it's there.
This is tough because obviously you can see a lot of the fairway and you're thinking, okay, that's great. Not great. You don't want to be in the middle of the fairway. You want to be hugging down there by the water line so you have a clean shot into the green, which they will not have.
And tough to tell, I know, relative to this hole. As this hole, as hard as it is to play, it's almost equally as hard to film, because you got these big blind shots that are coming in. But I will give a shout out to Dustin and Paul, who are out there in their early stages of their disc golf filming career for the bonus footage. I appreciate it, gentlemen. Uphill. And that's fading back left. I love the angle. Yeah, circle's edge.
And the tricky thing is with this is he has to take it out very wide and bring it in.
Yeah, that just looked like he kind of, I don't want to say misread it. He just didn't throw it hard enough. I mean, it was a great line, but 35 feet short. Cale, easy tap in.
Cale's trending nicely right now in the last few holes, few birdies.
Uh-oh. Yeah, anytime you need to get a kayaker involved, they're having a discussion here. We'll stand down for a second.
I mean, this is dry. It's like mud. I don't know. We have graffiti, but I know this doesn't fall. I mean, look at this. That's water. This is mud.
They're talking about water versus mud.
This is rock. on that rock. I mean, there's no clear lines.
The guidelines, the requirement 5 miles.
Out of bounds. Paul comes in and says, "Guys, it's out of bounds." And
Looks
they're continuing to debate it with him, but Oman himself is.
Yeah, that's out of bounds.
As long as it's clear, I know.
Yeah, no.
Well, you do have the tournament director over there.
All the way up to these rocks right here.
Yeah, Nate is overseeing.
Like if there's a little rock sticking out on an island or something in the middle of the lake.
And when it was all said and done, I think the correct call was in fact made that was out of bounds. I can understand how that could be briefly debated, but I think that was OB. So double OB, a little bit of frustration here from Paul Oman, or at least a tough couple of breaks at least.
This hole can do it to you, though. You have to stay. This course can do it, really. You have to stay so mentally focused through every hole out here, because any hole can come back and bite you. As James shows that, he throws out of bounds, but then he stays in position and he's able to knock down a good putt to save the par.
McBeth from 29 feet.
There's a good putt, and he is now 12 under par, which I believe is a really good score because these other guys are kind of leaking behind at about, I think Cale's going to get, triple bogey from Paul. That's going to hurt. Cale's going to get to 8 under. Oman is now tied with James.
Yeah, we often talk about, Saturday's moving day, and McBeth's trying to do what he can, and unfortunately, we see a couple of the guys struggling. And we head over here to hole number 14. Plenty of danger. That same, of course, Lake Eureka is still off to the right-hand side. And a par 4 that comes in as the most difficult hole on the course, as it averages 4.66.
Oh, this hole's just brutal. I mean, that makes you have to throw super low ceiling controlled shot into a corner that has OB basically at the perfect place that you want your disc to land. Like one mistake and you're just a slight angle mistake and you're out of bounds. This is really difficult.
McBeth needs that to sit down. You see the wind picking up off the lake, and it just lifted it over the OB line to the left for McBeth. James turning over. We'll see if that stables up. And just a textbook drive by Conrad.
Oh, you couldn't place it in a better spot. That is so good.
We'll see how Oman can recover after the triple bogey.
No complaints there. That's a really good tee shot. Anything in bounds off the tee here, you're okay with.
And we're hearing a little bit of the wind. Look at the flag up in the background. You see that blowing kind of right in Cale's face, because he's hanging this one out wide right.
Really nicely executed. I mean, just to have a putt on this hole that is tough.
And just geographically, these are the two furthest points out on the course, is when you're at this basket or you're on the next tee. You're essentially as far away from Tournament Central as you'll get on the course. Sit down. Good shot by Oman, bringing himself what looks to be just inside the circle.
Now, Paul has a decision to make here. I mean, he's to the left side, so if he wants to get hyper aggressive, that's going to take a really, really specific angle, specific shot, and he's going for it.
Yeah, it looks like he brought it in a little bit tight, but the fact that he's inside circle 2, at least gives him a look to try and save his par. And then James Conrad, like you said, just perfect positioning. That's okay. High side, looking down. That tree may or may not come into play, and here's McBeth from about 55, maybe 60 feet.
And this is to save the par. And he turns away just immediately in disgust.
Yeah, he's asking for it to get down, and I think that's all about the headwind. And it's not quite the same angle for James, but you have to be thinking about that headwind as you're launching it, and that also probably got a little extra carry. James wondering if he went OB and found all the way to the water. It doesn't look like he did, but these guys aren't making it any easier on themselves. I think their aggression is kind of coming back to bite them here on this green.
Yeah, this is for
That's
bogey.
For bogey, yeah.
Good putt for bogey. I mean, and honestly, bogey on this hole isn't the worst score ever.
Yeah, as we mentioned, it's the toughest hole on the course. So, to walk away with a bogey isn't the worst, but look at the way the recovery though by Paul Ulibarri. Triple bogey, comes back, takes a birdie on the next hole.
He's averaging about the average now for both holes. So he was expected to do that according to the statisticians. Here's James. And nope. It's just been one of those rounds for him. This is not one that he actually wanted you to catch on camera, I'm guessing.
Well, I'm sure he's forgotten about it a few months later, so he won't worry about it. But again, look at that wind, and I think that was the number one factor, as these guys approach this green, and it came back to bite them. So we take a look at hole 15. We start heading back toward the clubhouse, so to speak. Is this a forehand or is this a backhand turnover if you're right-handed?
McBeth will be the only one maybe even thinking about a forehand here. We got predominant backhand players. So I think it was a headwind on the last hole, so you're going to have a left to right cross here. You're going to need something very understable or something on a very aggressive Anheuser line here to get it to carry up there towards the basket.
Wow. Not happy with it, but the result wasn't too bad. He filtered through the tree. He should be able to get up and down from there. That white pole on the right is in fact a Mando, so they have to go, to the left of that pole, as Cale's right at circle's edge. And McBeth, is that a buzz in his hands?
Looks like gets it to go right there. Yeah, that's a good shot.
Yeah, he finds himself 20 feet away. Shout out to Pastry Dyes, I believe did dye that disc. Whether it was a Buzz or a Luna, I'm not sure. And Conrad at circle's edge. Do you feel like this course gets any easier as you make the turn? Hole 14 is the toughest hole, as Cale doesn't convert on the birdie, but 15, 16, 17, 18, do you feel, is there any sense of relief? I know they're tough, but is it a little relieving?
No, it kind of has a little pocket, so you get to like 10, 11, 12, even the par 5 right before we played the par 4 previous to this one I feel like is kind of, it's not easy, but it's manageable, especially if you're playing well. So then you get to the toughest hole on the course, and you play this one, which isn't that easy, but if you have the power, it can be. So there's little pockets of like 2 in a row, then 3 in a row, then you're met with like something really, really hard. So I feel like the designer did a really good job of keeping you kind of on your toes and not really allowing you to get a lot of momentum, you know?
Okay. Oman's able to get the par, as is Leiviska.
Because even coming up, this next hole is considered probably pretty easy. And then right after you have the island hole, which obviously is a birdie bogey situation.
Well, hole number 16, we're watching 606 feet. Anything that can get anywhere near the crest of this hill right here is in great position. That's obviously a little bit of a bonus, but being able to see the basket on the approach, I think, is such a bonus to make things easier on you on this hole.
Absolutely. Looks like Paul's going with the roller.
Yeah, it's aggressive coming in right into the center. It's just a matter of staying out of that bush line on the left, and it does. It's really in great position.
Yeah, he's going to have just a basic shot into the green. He's going to be able to pick whatever one he wants. Sidearm, backhand, turnover, hyzer, straight.
That's catches some cabbage, but is almost the exact same distance as McBeth's roller was. Should be in good position. And that stays clean. The question is, how far to the left does it push? And you kind of saw it land on the hillside, and it ultimately, as it hyzered out, it just went straight to the OB.
Yeah, he's gonna have a wide open shot into the green, even though that's not exactly what he wanted, of course. But if you do go left, as long as you beat those few trees in the middle there, you have a shot in. Now, this is a tough shot, but makeable. I don't know exactly what the wind's doing right here. It looks like it's up a bit. But in order for Cale to get, that is done really well. Even to get to that distance.
Yeah, to have that touch in the control. Yeah. And here's what I was talking about, not being able to see the basket. I mean, you're really just kind of picking a point and throwing. A great shot by Paul. Almost too good.
Yeah, really well done by Paul there. And he needed it, like you said, after the triple bogey that he had back there. He needs all the good shots he can take now.
Park job by Conrad. McBeth going with a different approach. He's got the forehand zone. And just a bit short, but definitely in range.
I've seen him make longer ones.
Cale from outside the circle. Oh, no.
Yeah, that's 2 misses in a row from circle's edge. If he could have got those ones to go, then he's sitting at 10 under. I mean, he did have that round right there in front of him. Those are the putts that you have to make coming down the stretch on Saturday if you want to put yourself in contention, is those ones that are right at 30 feet.
McBeth picks up another birdie. Again, that pushes him to 8 under through 16, and now Cale's got some work coming back.
Yeah, good putt coming in, but like I said, I think he really wanted that first one, and especially the last 2 holes, having those, come up a bit, not to his liking or to his standard. I mean, we're used to seeing Cale at least make 50% of those, right outside circle 1 putts.
Props to Oman for still getting up and down and walking away with the par, even after the OB. He doesn't have to kick his towel around. I mean, I wouldn't get that mad, Oman. Jeez.
His towel didn't throw that shot.
Violent. Hole 17, yeah. The little water carry. It's so easy to talk about this hole being attackable while we're sitting in a chair a few months later, but 15th most difficult hole, averaging 2.82. and only you'll love this statistic. Just 11% of the field taking par.
Yeah, it's a birdie or bogey for sure. And McBeth needing to make a push here.
Yeah, that's right side, 25 feet. See what Conrad can do. That is just dropping like a rock right out of his hands, but he put it up high enough. 6 feet for Conrad.
That's some trust right there. Like you said, that big wind drop that he got, I thought it was going to be lost forever.
And Paul's going to need a lot more finish. I'm not going to say that shot was garbage, but...
Well, I'll say that the picture's worth 1,000 words. So.
We love you, Paul, but yeah, sorry. Pulled that one too far right, and Cale follows suit and also out of bounds.
Cale just leaking some here, man. And he had a round going. He was playing conservative, gave himself some looks at the end, and then it's just kind of getting away from him. Oh.
Right off the top.
Talk about aggressive. Go kick your towel again, maybe.
You see the left to right wind. Just a little approach. Cale might have left that one a tad short.
Yeah, and that's something you don't want one short at all on this hole. You can see the wind is just ripping right here. Paul's going to have to take this one probably outside top high basket in order to get it to drop in there nice.
Taking his time.
Yeah, perfectly done. Yeah, you see his release point was about right at that red band, and he just trusted that it was going to fall right in there, and well read by Paul McBeth.
Cale's going to take the bogey, as will his good buddy. For those who don't know, maybe just some disc golf trivia to put in your back pocket. Cale and Paul have been, they've traveled around quite a bit and are two of the closest friends you'll find out there on the disc golf tour and in the scene. So they know each other and been playing together for many, many years. And here we are, finally arrived at hole 18, the finishing hole at 711 feet, averaging about a quarter stroke above par. And looks like maybe they'll have a little bit of a tailwind or a left to right over their shoulder.
Yeah, it's going to be a left to right wind, which looks like McBeth might be going roller.
See how much it stands up. It does, and that's a crush. That's a good shot.
Yeah, that's massive. The thing about this hole is it doesn't matter where you land, you're going to have a tough approach. Like, you could throw it a million miles and have 250 feet in, and it's still not that easy.
Yeah, I think that describes it perfectly. No, I mean, almost no matter how good your tee shot is, there's always work to be done. Oh, no. And just as that hyzer's out at the very end, big pull, but OB for Conrad. Right up the middle. Oh no, sit down. Paul runs over there. Paul Ulibarri, the cameraman, or Paul Bauman, the cameraman, unfortunately finds that one out of bounds as well. Cale's going in the same direction, but hits a tree, and that definitely saved him from going out of bounds.
Yeah, you can see how stiff that tailwind was. None of them could get theirs turned over enough to have a clear shot at the fairway. Look at this shot. Just doesn't leave much to be desired, does it?
Well, it's so unappealing knowing how tough it is. Plus, he's worried about his footing. You know, it's a little mucky down there. That's the official term.
12 foot tall.
Yep. You know, there's just nothing easy about what he's got lined up there.
All right, here's that tough shot. The one thing you got to look for here is you can throw as good of a shot as you want, but you need to hit the brakes once you hit the green.
Yeah, and that looked like it hit a tree limb or something, and it slowed him down. So McBeth will have a long look at birdie, and Conrad's putting himself just inside the circle to try and save his par here.
Really good shot from Conrad there.
So as we're starting to close this out, I want to say, please leave it in the comments as to what your favorite hole out here is. Now that you've seen all 18 of them at the Lake Eureka course, tell me what your favorite hole is. Please make sure you like, share, subscribe, all those YouTube things. Hit the bell thingy. But I need to know what your favorite hole is on this course, and you'll be eligible to win a disc.
Terry, will you do me a favor?
I will.
Ask me.
Oh, what's your favorite hole out here? Or should
I'm
we
not
save
gonna
that for
tell ya.
round 4? No, we're
I'm
going to
not gonna
save that
tell
for
ya.
round 4.
All right, I'll tell you on round 4.
You disc tease. Here's Conrad trying to save his par. Look at the flags blowing. Just not
his
today.
round. Yeah, not his
No.
round.
Missed that many putts.
Yeah, as he walks away saying, I missed that many putts, and that's unfortunately what we kind of witnessed. All right, Uli, again, thank you. People, I trust, are loving hearing all your insights out here on this very challenging course. We've got just one round left to play. I get to hear what your favorite hole is, and
I
I'm
I'm
looking
excited.
forward to it.
I'm excited for you to hear what my favorite hole is.
All right, I think on that note, huge shout out to the Pro Tour, to Ledgestone Insurance, Grip, Discraft, Nate Heinold, and the crew, everyone who works so tirelessly to make all of this event happen. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I'm the Disc Golf Guy. This has been round number 3 at the Ledgestone Insurance Open, and we trust that you're going to join Paul Ulibarri and myself for the concluding round on Championship Sunday. We'll see you guys then.